Good afternoon, traveler. This is just a short video. I want to look at the types of spirit there are and basically why they're that way and what we tend to think about them and how we affect them. Basically, as human beings, we tend to refer to spirits as positive spirits and negative spirits. And by that, we have this, it's really kind of a selfish outlook, a selfish lens that we're viewing the spirits through. Because we would put any spirit that does things the way we think they should be done, that helps us reach the goals that we want to make, as a positive spirit. And any spirit that thwarts our goals causes us some pain. Now, I'm not talking about personally attacking, that there's a different kind of spirit there, but it's a spirit we create, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But any spirit that causes us duress and a bit of pain and takes away from us and seems to challenge us to reach our goal as a negative spirit. The truth is that there's really only two categories of spirits. That's constructive and destructive. A constructive spirit adds to things, builds things up, and a destructive spirit takes away from things or tears things down. Both are extremely necessary to keep the cycle of life as we know it, or even beyond what we know it, going. Because the destructive spirits have to tear down the old, the dying, the useless, the things that have been here over long that no longer need to be, so that the constructive spirit can come in and build things up that do need to be. Now, there's a third kind of spirit beyond these two. In a perfect world, there would just be these two categories. And the two would work harmoniously together, and we would work with them, and things would just be as they're supposed to be. Unfortunately, the problem is as human beings, being selfish, our actions and our attitudes have created a third kind of spirit, and that's the hostile spirit. Now, the hostile spirit is the one that comes directly for you or for a group or for a race. It's a very personal attack spirit, and that's what makes it completely different from a negative spirit. Because remember, I told you a negative spirit is just a destructive force. A hostile spirit is exactly what it's called, hostile. It's coming for you, okay? Now, how do hostile spirits come into effect, or how do they come into being? Basically, as I kind of explained a little, we create them. And we do this by selfishly pursuing our goals, doing whatever it takes to bring pleasure to ourselves, and basically not caring about the consequences. As long as we ourselves are happy, it doesn't matter what we had to do to cause that. Well, when you take that kind of action, you're making things imbalanced, and you're causing a spirit to be pulled away from its agenda, and it's being pulled away from its agenda where it's using its skills and its abilities for everything it's supposed to, and being put in a different place because you're blocking it, or perhaps you've even moved it. If you're a magical person or a wizard, you could open a portal and deliberately move a spirit from one place to another. But by and large, most spirits become hostile not because they're moved from a place, but because they're blocked from what they're supposed to be doing by our selfish actions. And so what happens is then they become angry, and then they attack. So what is the necessity then to get rid of hostile spirits, for us to try to restore the balance, is for us to get spirits back to where they belong and get out of their way so they can do their job. To live less selfishly, to look at a spirit and what its agenda is, and for those agendas that are not just good for us personally, but good for the whole human race, good for the land we live on as well. It has to be a win-win thing. Then we need to work with the spirits to restore this balance. And then you lose the anger of the spirits, and you'll no longer have hostile spirits. The other thing that can create a hostile spirit, because besides our selfish action, but it is a sort of action on our part too, is when we cause trauma to the other spirit, to a spirit form, or to another human being. So like if a human being, say, dies in a traumatic situation, it often comes back as an angry spirit. And the reason for this is that it's, it died so quickly, the human didn't have a chance to understand where it was supposed to go. And so it's stuck in place. And so it's angry. And again, the answer is that we have to restore the balance by moving these spirits on. So in working with the spirits, our job is to keep a constant balanced flow. We need to work with both destructive spirits and constructive spirits to make sure that the unnecessary things are torn down and the necessary things are built up. And as I said, the rule of thumb to know which things those are to be is to look at our world now, consider what it should be and what the win-win situation is for our environment as well as for us as a human race. And to do those things, that restores the balance. That's it in a nutshell. And that's really all I had to share with you today. I just wanted you to understand that really there only are two kinds of spirits, or there should only be two categories of spirits. We unfortunately create the third category. And then we have to deal with the consequences, and we kind of bemoan and we get upset by it. But the way to restore everything to as it should be is to help restore the balance. Get out of the way of the spirits, work along the side of them to bring both the destructive and the constructive spirits, work along the side of them to balance things so that the environment wins and we win, and they get to fulfill their agenda because they're doing what they're skilled in doing. And it's a win-win situation. And that's all I have to share with you today. Today I just want you to think a little bit about what you can do to help return some spirits to where they belong, or what you can do to maybe step out of the way of some of the spirits so that they can go on to do what they're supposed to do. Or even, how can you help to return a spirit to where it goes on? And you could do this sort of like mediums do by helping an angry spirit find the light, let's say. So we have the ability. We are the strong spirits that we are developed to be, not greater than any other spirits, but creator spirits that work like lightning rods. And we have the ability to help restore the balance to things by working with these other spirits. So that's what I want you to think about today, traveler. I thank you for your time, and all of this comes from my heart to yours. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.